Welcome back to another episode of No Cap Sports, man. And first off, I want to give a special shout out to my boy TJ and my boy Vance. Both of y'all NFL teams got y'all's first dub this weekend. Josh, I'm sorry, you might have to wait goddamn 12 more weeks for y'all to get a dub. But anyway, welcome to No Cap Sports, man. We got a special episode for y'all, diving in to some college football as well as the best time of year is right around the corner. NBA season finna kick back off. The NBA, NFL, MLB postseason overlap. I hope y'all got y'all FanDuel, DraftKings, whatever betting app you use ready because there's money to be made. But fellas, let's start off with a wild weekend of college football. And Vance, I'm gonna come to you, man. We was talking about how ass DJ Lagway been. And ass versus ass went to head on Saturday. Lagway versus Arch Manning. And one quarterback looked significantly more ass than the other. So tell the people what happened on Saturday, Vance.
Listen, man, I didn't think Florida was gonna score that many points. And as Arch Manning has been, I'm gonna let him off the hook, believe it or not, for that Florida game. And you know who I'm gonna put on the hook and I'm gonna reel their ass in is Texas defense. They played two P4 opponents. Number one, Ohio State. Listen, they only gave up 14 points. It is what it is. Zero sacks against Ohio State. Zero sacks against the Florida Gators. And we just saw Florida get dismantled by Miami of the U. And so, like, that's just so disappointing to watch them honestly just look like an okay average defense when they were just punishing all these other sorry teams. It was fool's gold. But back to Arch Manning, I said I was going to let him off the hook. I can't do that, bro. He's the worst type of ass, bro. He the type of ass it stank in the morning when he wake up, bro. He got to shower at night, evening, and at night, and when he wake up, bro. It's that bad, bro. So with Arch Manning, listen, it is what only his fifth, sixth start of his career. He still has time just because Sark has clearly let it be known that he's gonna let him finish out this season no matter what. And he believes in Arch, bro. But as of right now, if you gave him a grade, A, B, C, D, or F, I'd give him a 50, bro, just for trying. You write your name, you get points in the SAT. That's all he's done so far, bro.
That's a fact. That's that's a offended fact. I guess I'll jump in as a second string Texan. I agree wholeheartedly with what Van said in terms of holding the Texas and defense accountable because last year one of the best units in college football. We look at Colin Simmons, Anthony Hills, one of the most talented units in the country. And even in the Ohio State game, that was what really kept them in the game, honestly, because we talked about the left cheek, right cheek action that is Arch Manning. And again, we talked about how bad DJ Lagway is, but this Texas secondary is letting teenagers make plays all over them downfield.
Hey,
Um,
chill. I ain't gonna
if
lie, that young bull nice, bro.
I mean, but Texas secondary is supposed to be nice too. You got the white boy All American hero Michael Taft. You got Jelani McDonald. You got Malik Muhammad. You got guys that again a quarterback that we think as bad as DJ Lagway is. He got a big arm, so he's able to make the throws downfield. But that was just a lot of man on man coverage. I'm going to out athlete you. This is my ball over you. Whether it's like I said, that field plays downfield or a lot of bad tackling, which I personally saw. So it's not necessarily letting Arch off the hook. Because for me personally, a guy that we'll talk about a lot later, it is very it's very reminiscent of Drew Allen in terms of expectations versus reality. But listen to Bomani Jones early on my drive in from the great state of Texas. I think that a very interesting point was just because of how known a figure that Arch Manning was in college football. I honestly think that in retrospect now, I think the recruiting battle and lack of a better term, the rights to Arch Manning was more important or were more significant than he'll ever be as a player because, again, we know his last name. But in all, like I said, truthfully, we've seen true freshman quarterbacks get on the field early. We talk about the guy in California. We talk about my boy Washington, Maryland, especially at a quarterback at a position that crucial in the amount of roster turnover that we have in college football nowadays. If you have a guy that's talented, you're going to get him on the field. And I think it's very indicative now that it took 3 years for Arch Manning to see any real significant playing time. And I think that that's an indicator of I think a lot of the stuff that people are afraid to say out loud, maybe this guy just isn't that good. We see the Quinn Ewer stuff. We see how, I mean, we know the price tag it was for him to come back this year versus being an undrafted free agent, and we how much slander he caught, but does it look like Texas had a better option at this point? So, from my perspective, I think the entity and the value attached to Arch Manning in terms of being able to, like I said, nurture that relationship with his family, get that big of a recruit win and kind of just officially signal Texas back as a blue blood, solidify that. That seems to have been more important and more valuable than the actual on-field product because we can all undeniably say it's been a disappointment.
Well,
That's a
I
great
think one
point.
thing people often overlook is Arch is the son of Cooper Manning, the one who didn't play in the NFL, but as two guys who played on some teams with some subpar quarterback play, coming back to your original point, Vance, of how the defense has let you down, when you don't have a quarterback that you can trust in and have confidence in to go out and win you those games, make those extra plays that are the difference in games, it affects your whole team. And like I said, me and TJ can speak to that. We saw a season where five different quarterbacks got behind center and took a snap. So we can speak to a team, like I said, not having confidence in that starting quarterback and it affecting the whole team. So TJ, I want to see your perspective on this whole Texas situation just how uh, and just how some of that hype they came into the season as the number one team in college football, how some of that hype has just kind of fallen off and led to this point where Texas is now 3-2 with two pretty bad losses, in my opinion.
What I'll say is it's interesting because we haven't seen a player. It's been in this era of the portal, and it's been a while since we've seen someone kind of to Josh's point sit the bench. Whereas we might have thought, he didn't earn it. Maybe like Josh said, he didn't deserve it. I will say, not to mince words, he has been a disappointment, but I'm not ready to throw him away personally because some of the things that I have seen, at some point in that game, let's be honest, he was the only one with a pulse. We talked about the defense. We talked about the lack of effort. The play that he made when he stepped up in the pocket, that's probably the best play he's made in his entire career. So when I see that and I see him still battling in the game, the interceptions were awful, but we've given Florida their props as a defense, and that's a hard place to play. And Josh made a great point about the experience. I think, like I said, we haven't seen someone sit the bench and not have this experience in the era portal. If Arch was black and he was at a different school, what would he have done after the first year he didn't play? He would have left. So we haven't seen a kid sit on the bench for 2-3 years, and especially when you talk about the development, we've talked about how the competition wasn't up to par, and maybe the recruiting battle. I've seen some things. Let's call them unfortunate. Okay, the first game, Ohio State, you play what you can consider to be a failed NFL coordinator, still has the knowledge to basically make a college kid's life hell, which is what he did in the first game.
They defense only letting up 5 points per game, bro.
Right. That's probably the best defense in the country. But you could tell something that Vance said from the first play. He was nervous. He was all over the place. He overthrew a wide open, basically was a 50-yard yak play. I think some of the things there are fixable. I'm not quite ready to throw him out because, again, I guess what I'm dancing around, like maybe he's just rusty. Maybe he hasn't been developed. And the only way you can get that development is on the field, which is why I'm not ready to, throw the baby out with the bathwater, so to speak. And I also don't think that game was on him. I think, like I said, again, at one point he was the only one even trying. There was no running game. The defense was getting absolutely, what was it? Was it Wilson that had the catch on the sideline and then started dragging people with him?
Yep.
And like, that's not characteristic with a Texas defense that we've seen. We've seen hard hits, physical play. Like, we have not seen them do that. I think that at some points in the game, when they see him give up the ball, they're like, all right, well, he ain't trying. We ain't trying. I wasn't crazy about what Sark said about, well, if you come down to the swamp. I thought that was a little bit, especially with a team with such lofty expectations and goals. We just saw USF. Most people couldn't pick out the USF head coach out of a lineup, and they just went down there and gave Florida the work. So it's not like, those things are not acceptable with a program the caliber of Texas. I like the way that he has stuck by Arch. I would like to see him progress for the rest of the season, and if they want to go a different direction, I think he'll get a chance somewhere else. But his family's got to get out of his corner and say, well, he can't leave. He can't, they've got to let him start to do what he's going to do and fit the landscape of college football, not the other way around.
But let me ask you this, TJ. We're halfway through the season, as you know. We have two lost teams that are really good, came in all these
Right.
expectations. Like Nick said, in terms of like just talent, I'm just asking you. I want you to start bench cut Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame.
My first thought was a cut Notre Dame. I just like they've played. I know that it might be a little, but they've just played around too many times in these big games. Like it's hard to see talent when
True
you're not
freshman
like.
quarterback though. I'm gonna throw that one out there.
I mean, they've been out. I mean, they've been out talented in 2 games so far against Miami and Texas A&M. One at home.
Yeah, and I'm kind of concerned about that quarterback. Like I know this is his first time playing, but like he does some things. I'm just like that. He had the intent. I told Nick about it in the group. He had the intentional grounding play where he literally threw the ball directly into the
Yeah,
ground.
fact.
Like no attempt to. I'm gonna cut Notre Dame. I'm gonna bench Penn State, and I'm gonna start Texas. I don't know if that makes it look worse for them that they're not performing, but they've had a lot of, at least on defense, continuity. I don't love Notre Dame, and Penn State is, they're in the middle of everything they do. Like they're always going to have talent on defense. They're always going to have running backs. They've kept their backs for 3 years. I just think Texas on both sides of the ball should have the most talent. But
An interesting take, bro. But uh, before we move on and talk about Penn State and Drew Aller and uh, some of the shortcomings they've had, I just want to be sure before we move on, like I said, to give some flowers to DJ Lagway, a guy we kind of bagged on. But we see when you get your number one weapon in Dallas Wilson, who went for 6 catches, 111 yards, 2 tuds. That can be a hell of a difference in a quarterback's play. Obviously, he went 21 for 28 with 2 touchdowns. So shout out to DJ Lagway for his performance on Saturday. But like I said, Penn State is in a similar boat as Texas. Like you alluded to, Vance, they now have 2 losses, back-to-back losses, one coming to Oregon, and then another one coming to UCLA and Nico Imami, whatever his last name is,
yeah,
uh,
we
who
got
came
you.
into this game winless and secured their first victory of the season against a Penn State team who made the college football playoff last year. So I gotta ask y'all, what does this game say about James Franklin, man? Because he's been all right on that line. I just want to see what y'all think, man.
First of all, he looked like, oh boy, the ball dude from Key and Peele. So that denotes a level of seriousness that we can't take with him. But I think this relates to a little bit to um, I call it football culture that some people tend to stray away from. But it's won the Eagles a Super Bowl, and that's helmet scouting. And I think sometimes we have to. I mean, it's a concept that's out there for a reason. Like literally, just some quick perusing. Some quick online sleuthing before we do this. What is? I actually throw this to y'all. Who is the best quarterback in Penn State history?
Like James Franklin era or all
No,
time?
I'm talking about
Is it
ever.
Christian Hackenberg?
Trace McSorley.
Vance, you got
Can't
an
give
answer?
you no, I can't give you no answer, but I don't
That's
know.
arguably, you're like this, Vance. Based on accolades, I would guess Christian Hackenberg probably does crack the top 5. Gary Collins, Gary
Oh,
Collins,
All
or
right, go to
Todd
hell.
Blackledge, Mister Nobody remembers from that elite draft class back in the '80s. I think it was '84, whatever. But I think that we talk about just the overall ethos of a program. A like offense has historically held them back. But also this is not a situation that if I'm a top 5 recruit, I literally have no track record of either James Franklin, what he did at Vanderbilt, or this program being able to develop me and get me to that next level in terms of being a guy that's a successful NFL quarterback, or even, I mean, Kerry Collins, shout out my boy, even a true mid-tier NFL quarterback. And I think that it's a situation to where you look at, how James Franklin has built this program in his time in Happy Valley, and it's we're gonna do some ragging on him, and rightfully so. But Penn State has always kind of been that second tier blue blood. They first of all, like I said, y'all, being in the Northeast for 2 years, I never trekked to Penn State, and it was like 4 hours away. And there's a reason for that. It's literally in the middle of nowhere. I just said Happy Valley because I can't even think. I think it's State College, Pennsylvania. And you're talking about this age of NIL recruiting. Oh, if I'm a 5-star guy, I could go play for. I could go make $1 billion NIL in Oregon. I could go play in Los Angeles. I could go play in Miami. Now, why would I take my happy black ass to the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, if the money is comparable? First of all,
Unless
but
it's
the,
for that number 11. I don't see no reason, bro.
Playing in the
Unless
snow.
unless I'm an off-ball linebacker that wants to become one of the most dominant pass rushers. Exactly. Like, there's no reason to. But this has always been this has been a second-tier blue blood. They're gonna recruit well. They're gonna have talent at least on the defensive side of the ball. But this has been a program that is historically held back by its offense. So again, we talk about again like a guy like Christian Hackenberg, 5-star billing, underwhelmed. Trust me, my just drafted him. He never made a regular season start. And Drew Aller was supposed to be honestly the guy that kind of changed that lineage, or at least started to fight back against it. But I think that I'm going through it with my team right now. Sometimes program organizational ethos are too much to overcome. And while we're laying a lot of the stuff at the feet of Drew Aller, and maybe rightfully so, he's been a guy that's consistently underwhelmed, and now he has no excuses with the level of receiver talent they brought in, and having Nick Singleton is failing off, but Keytron Allen is still a top 5 running back in college football. I just think that the lack of success with James Franklin, the lack of development in Drew Aller, and just the overall program ethos of Penn State, they're all intertwined. So you can't necessarily blame one more than the other. It's all like it would be like it's like one of those intersecting Venn diagrams with the 3 circles. I guess they would all share 33% blame. It's not.
It's sad just because going into this season, we all knew Penn State, if they were going to do it, they had a really good year last year. Everybody's coming back this year. If you were going to do it, you were going to do it this year with all these teams. Think about all the Heisman front runners. If you go look at the beginning of the year, all of these quarterbacks that were on the list, you had Aller, you had Nussmeier, you had the guy in South Carolina, you had Arch Manning, you had DJ Lagway. All of these quarterbacks are really, really playing subpar ball, bro. And Drew Aller he still has a chance to take advantage, but it's no quarter like to your point, Josh, just them not having a history of a great quarterback. Great quarterback play wasn't even needed. They just need him to be okay.
Thanks.
And in these big games, these big moments in Oregon, you couldn't score for 3 quarters. Like, come on, you're at home, the best night environment, top 3 if not in LSU, yeah. And so like that environment is crazy. And for you not to be able to produce in that moment and then pull up a stinker just 7 days later, that's really disappointing.
I mean, let me just throw this out to you, Vance, or to the cast. Like, how will we respond to say that James Franklin had just hit the ceiling that is his Penn State program? Do y'all know the last time that Penn State won a national championship?
I'm gonna guess Sandusky.
80s, 70s.
Before Vance was even born. Exactly. 86. So it's like they have not been good in the modern era of football. And I think that, again, to Vance's point, they were going to, even if this was the year that they were going to do it, but they made the Final Four last year. We know the 2 and however many losses that James Franklin has. But honestly, in my evaluation, he's been able to wring out this talent as much as you can do at Penn State.
I mean, I think you provide a good point of just the track record of Penn State, and we talk about Drew Aller and this offense, but I think, like you said, Josh, I think this goes just to the ethos of Penn State. This is a UCLA team with a quarterback in Nico, who Tennessee straight up said, like, yeah, you're not worth all the money you want. You can get gone. And this is a team that hadn't scored more than 23 points in their 4 previous games. They put up 23 against UNLV, obviously a group of 5 team, 10 against Utah, 10 against New Mexico, 14 against Northwestern, but they dropped 42 on Penn State. That alone should have a pink slip on James Franklin's.
Coordinator that literally did not know how to work the headset.
Oh, God. So that alone should have a pink slip on James Franklin's door yesterday. But we'll see what happens there. So as we talked about, obviously Texas, Penn State, 2 teams who came into the season 1-2, a lot of hype, and have not lived up to it. But one team that came out and started the season with a disappointing loss was Alabama, the Crimson Tide, losing to Florida State in the season opener. But coming off a win at Georgia and a win at Vandy, is Alabama back in that national champion, SEC champion conversation?
That's just yes, man. It's so many teams that have a chance, and they're literally Alabama. That Florida State game, Florida State came in with a whole bunch of hype, and they played at home. First game, you don't know if you're sorry or not, man. They played a hard schedule since then. losing to Miami. That was a tough game, but I mean, honestly, that loss is starting to look a little less worse than what we initially thought in week one. And so, with that being said, they have their weapons. Ty Simpson has a run game as Jam Miller's came back. I like what I see on the offensive side of the ball. Defense is okay. They're not like a 2010 Alabama defense, but they can get the job done. They're serviceable, especially when you're thinking about the competition that they're playing. So are they back? I'm not gonna say they back because when I think of back, I think the cream of the crop is either them or Georgia. They're not at that point. They're in the middle with everybody else competing, but they look good. They have a chance for sure.
I would say Vance makes a really good point in terms of how much better that Florida State loss looks. I'd also agree with his point, like back is not necessarily quantified by record. I just think that for me, and I don't think this may not even come under the board, but just the talent and the physicality into that returns, I would not really denote them as back. And just the schedule. 6 out of their next 7 games are ranked opponents,
Mhm.
and South Carolina could probably be ranked by the time they play them in 2 weeks. So I think that, I mean, they probably got they probably got the win against that hardest game in that stretch at Georgia. But I just really don't see them going. I don't see them win the next 5 games. And do they make the SEC championship with 2 losses?
Mm.
I don't really think so. So like you said, are they a national championship contender? Technically, because there's 12 teams and they can still make it as at large, depending on what those losses look like. But like I said, until that physicality returns, it is the talent level on the non-skill position. Things elevate. I would not denote them as back.
I will say to y'all's point, this is the most Bama-ish they've looked under the board. Now they aren't all the way back, but like this is the closest to what Nick Saban left a footprint of that we have seen. I think the defense is trending upwards. Like y'all said, the Florida State loss looks good because they've played well. That's a really good football team. They just had two tough games back to back, but they'll win 9 to 10 games probably. I like what I'm seeing from the run game. Still look a little bit lost on defense sometimes, but we knew Vanderbilt would be a tough out. I have to say, I love the clip that Vance sent in the group chat. You got Jeremy Bernard, all praise to the Most High. You got your defensive lineman and the running back number talking about Bobby a bitch. Like, you got to have that balance. I think since we've seen the clip of the woman outside the gas station talking about she would use the lottery money to buy out the board, they've kind of trended upwards. The Georgia win was very big time, very traditional SEC throwback win, nasty bruisers, I was saying in the group, have we ever seen a team win a game and not score a singular point in the second half? But they did it. That's some of the most Bama shit that I've seen in a while. Like what Vance is talking about with the 2010s, the thing that they don't talk about with Bama is pitch left, pitch right, Julio, Ardarius, Scott, Stewart, just a nasty game plan. They winning. They're going to impose their will on the defensive line. You got to bruise them back. But you got no
Very
real wide.
Philadelphia Eagles are very Philadelphia.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, we'll find our gadget receiver down there somewhere. We'll run the ball, pitch left, pitch right, 40 times at you. We'll gut out a game. So they grind that game out. I like what I'm seeing. Something's got to be done in the SEC because we are trending, God help us, towards an A&M Ole Miss SEC championship game. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is good for absolutely no one. That cannot, under no circumstances, happen. The earth will open up and the rapture. Y'all keep talking about the rapture. If A&M and Ole Miss play each other in the championship, the rapture, the earth, all the magma and the lava and shit will become just the earth will
magma or
turn
magma? My bad.
What did he say?
No.
Nigga said make America slime again.
America gonna be hot underwater, under lava. If that shit happens, clip me, post me, whatever. I'll tweet this my damn self. I don't give a fuck if Missouri makes it. That can't happen. So Bama, do what you got to do. Somebody got to do something.
But I ain't gonna lie though, bro. Like you kind of spoke to with Ole Miss and Texas A&M. Right now, the SEC got 10 teams in the top 20, bro. 10, bro. So this conference is gonna be a slugfest through and through. And obviously, the way the rankings are right now aren't gonna be how they are at the end. But talking about some of these other SEC teams, TJ, you don't sound like you a big fan of Ole Miss and Texas A&M because I think the Grove would go crazy if Ole Miss finds their way to a SEC title game. But out of these SEC teams, who has really impressed y'all the most so far? Who has the best win and so on?
I damn near want to give it to Georgia for that Tennessee win, but then they fumbled the Bama game.
Facts.
It's like every team that I want to give it to turn around and had a bad loss. Like every team with a good win has a bad loss. It's hard to say because Bama got a great win but a bad loss. Georgia got a great win, bad loss.
I mean, even like I would say Ole Miss, but LSU can't really run the ball, and that's why I looked a little shaky. Like you said, with I mean, I would say probably best win still, probably in terms of gotta have it at talent level, Alabama at Georgia. But the team that's probably impressed me the most is Texas A&M. Just the well-roundedness of just how well-rounded they are. I don't see any significant weaknesses on their team in terms of a D line that can get home with four. You got your skill players with Bussy, Concepcion. You got a guy,
Mario
Marcel Reed,
Craver.
Yep.
three.
Mississippi State's
Um,
finest, Craver.
No cap.
And you got a dynamic running game. So I mean, they're not the. I mean, I don't know. Like you said, the SEC is just a conglomerate at this point. But they're not one of the teams that really sticks out, I guess. But I wouldn't want to play Texas A&M right now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, before last week, I would have said Oklahoma Sooners with John Mateer, but I mean they still look solid against Kent State last week. Uh, with Oklahoma, the defense is really solid, but honestly, looking at the schedule now, they don't have the best win. I would say Michigan, their offense has always just been historically in. Besides the year they won the Natty, where they had a run game, they could play that smash mouth football,
And
but
they were cheating. They were cheating.
yeah, no, for sure. But then the Auburn win was a good win. They won at
Yeah.
home, but
Yeah.
honestly, Auburn should have won that game if you watched it start to finish. There was a
Yeah.
play away here and there. So I want to say Oklahoma as in, but I need to see them play the real offense. We're not going to see them play a real one until Ole Miss 3 weeks into October 25th. They play Texas this week. That's not a real offense. South Carolina, they're sputtering. They're in. Sometimes Sellers plays like a number one pick. Sometimes he's just in. So the real offense, I'm not going to count that until Ole Miss. That could be a top five showdown that day. So with that being said, I'm gonna say Oklahoma for now, but it's still pending for me.
Yeah, and I really like that Oklahoma pick. And kind of to your point, they could really give, in my opinion, give Texas that knockout blow this Saturday with a big win in the Red River rivalry. But talking about Ole Miss, that's a team who I really like out of the SEC. First of all, how many teams in college football can you name who can rotate starters and be just as effective with either one? And
Yeah.
that part of the Ole Miss team tells me that this is a very special offense for one. We know Lane Kiffin is always going to that's going to be a stable of a Lane Kiffin team having a great offense. But looking at this Ole Miss team, one thing that really stands out to me is not only the fact that they have a great offense, but the fact that they're able to grit out wins, which is something I don't think Lane Kiffin has on his track record. You look at they're able to beat Kentucky in a tight game, beat them by 7. Able to beat LSU last week, beat them by 5 with Chambers, with Trinidad. I think they have all the pieces to finally make a run in Oxford. And it all starts with the quarterbacks, like I said. And with this Lane Kiffin offense, you know they're going to have some dynamic receivers, Harrison Wallace, and etc. This is a team I think that could really take a claim in the SEC. And they kind of been on that bubble for a little minute. You think about some of the big time wins Jackson Dart had. He went into Georgia and won. I mean, he beat Georgia in the Grove. So this is a team that's been on that bubble for a while. And I think this is the year they finally popped that bubble and staked their claim in the SEC, man.
Yeah, I see playing in their future. Just looking at the schedule, you got Georgia, you got like I said, Oklahoma in a few weeks. Florida's always tricky, and then you got the Egg Bowl. That's 4 games left where it's probably going to be a toss up for them, whether they're going to win or lose. Let's just say 9-3 might get you in, but I trust them to get to that 10-2 mark and split those 4 games.
And
Yeah, I mean,
I know
this
that.
is one of the few undefeated teams we got left in the SEC, so they got some room to spare, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we like little babyface Chamberlain, whatever the hell name is.
Trinidad, all
Yeah.
good,
Um,
everything.
let's see how the D2 guy goes through the heart of the SEC schedule. Let's see how that works out. big time win against LSU, but that's playing at Ole Miss, playing like I said, playing in the Grove, and I won't say sputtering, but a LSU team that has some clear deficiencies.
It was sputtering. You're right. It's sputtering.
Let's
That's fair.
let's see how he handles some of these road SC environments. I'm not completely sold yet. He does look good, but we know the QB inflation that you get in the Lane Kiffin offense. And let's see how some of these high price guys, the African dude, Malave, Xavier Harris, I think, Sashandre Perkins. Let's see how some of these guys that these defensive playmakers. Let's see how they hold up. It's like the Western Conference in the NBA. Let's see how we hold up as you get into conference play because, like you said, Nick, we have seen this before. And if they prove to be a team that can go into Tuscaloosa and get a win, let's see what they got on the schedule. If they can
Ole
go,
Miss is very SEC Penn State-ish. They can be Penn State-ish at times. Like
if they can go into the
that was
swamp,
Georgia forever until they started winning though too.
Right.
Exactly.
So Ole Miss got the win that they need to get against LSU, but like you said, Vance, what's to say Florida don't do what they just did to Texas? We've seen Florida give Ole Miss hell every time they play them. Like Mississippi State could catch them sleep on Thanksgiving weekend. Oh, we chilling, we whatever, and we blowing a game, thinking that we have one to blow.
As far as Florida's been, they have only had one flaw, literally, and that's the offense. The defense,
and they could have beat us
showed
before
up.
they played on defense. The way they played on defense, they could have beat LSU. So
they could beat Miami.
Right. You're looking at a Florida team that could be undefeated in a crazy world. I mean, I know that's
shit. I could be 25-15 and pick them too. Shoulda, could. Horseshoe, almost don't count for shit, but horseshoes and hand grenades, bro. And the SEC is gonna have this. You're gonna get that certain level of that self-deprecation. The teams are gonna beat each other up. They're not very few. You're gonna get even a undefeated SEC team through conference. But like I said, for me personally, I've kind of seen this script over before. Let's see how my boy from Ferris State handles going into the swamp, going between the hedges, going like I said, going to play OU.
Florida's at home.
But I'm gonna say this though, Josh. We have these questions, and rightfully so, about a guy who's coming up to the D1 level, coming up from D2, obviously. But one play that's really stood out in that LSU game to me was he makes a mistake, running out of bounds to close out the game. And instead of punting or kicking the field goal, I can't remember where they were on the field. Like Kiffin says, fuck it. I'm going to put the ball in your hands again. Get us this first down on fourth down to win us the game. And you know what he does? He does it. Obviously, he was at home, yes, but Lane Kiffin having that kind of trust in his guy to go out and win the game speaks volumes to me, and that's why I'm not as concerned for a typical Ole Miss slip up as you guys are. But like I said, I have faith in this Ole Miss team. Maybe it's misplaced, but I'm intrigued to see how they progress through the rest of this SEC schedule.
We can only operate on the evidence given to us.
And there's also the wrinkle of like it seems like a no-brainer to us, but like I feel like they're itching to put Austin Simmons back in because of the financial obligation. I've heard boosters talk about it. I've heard it be talked about it on shows. Like it seems like the silliest thing they could do to us, but to them they made a financial obligation and like word of mouth. Oh, you're our guy, so they feel like if he's healthy, he's been a healthy scratch. Like he's on the sideline, dress out. They don't put him in, but like there's a world where they are silly enough to let the money get in the way. They're like, okay, well, Trinidad threw a pick or two. Oh, well, let's put Austin Simmons back in, and then you're back where you know. But
the only thing I'll say like that, and then we'll transition. Lane Kiffin has enough cachet and personality, to be honest with you, to override that. If this was Billy Napier and Florida's backup was balling out, that wouldn't fly. Or even DeBoer, Alabama, that wouldn't fly. But we have a track record of, I'm kind of crazy. My daughter is banging one of the starters, one of the best defensive players in the conference. I know offensive football.
But all things you learn from. Like, I hate to say this, but I had never practiced with the headset in terms of like the button to talk to the quarterback. So there's like multiple times during the game I'm calling the play, but the headset's flipped up because I'm used to being a position coach. And then all of a sudden I'm pressing the wrong part of the button trying to talk to him. Like it was a mess. Hopefully we'll get that cleaned up by next week. But just one of those days. It just all kind of fell into place.
So guys, I want to start here as we transition to our next segment. Obviously, we were recording late last night, and I ain't going to blame the old man all for this, but LeBron made a big announcement today. It wasn't the announcement we thought. Vance, how you feeling, bro? You feeling let down that Bron played with you like that? Or? You like it
Man,
when
nah,
Braun play
man.
with you like that?
Oh my God, bro. Please, bro. Let's not start it like that. But my glorious king, please don't ever scare me like that ever again. I didn't go to sleep till 3 a.m., bro. I was tossing and turning in the bed last night, bro. Either way it goes, I'm happy that he still looked good last year. As long until he just looks washed, bro, why not keep playing? Hey, this is his life, his lifestyle. It fits with what he's doing. He's playing with his son. He's hooping, bro, in LA. What more can you ask for? So I'm not upset about it, man.
I mean, definitely one thing he could ask for is another championship ring. And with the NBA kicking off in the next couple of weeks, we will see how that looks. But we have to acknowledge the champs, the Thunder, who won the chip last season and now come into this NBA season with the NBA landscape that looks totally different. A lot of guys lost to injury, some new team ups and things like that. But I gotta ask y'all, is are we entering the Thunder dynasty era?
Hell no, hell no, hell no,
No,
hell
no,
no.
no, no, no.
Man, the first day of preseason, man, I'm checking my phone. I saw LaMelo Ball highlight. I go look at the score. Ooh, the Thunder are playing the Pels. They already up 30, bro. All bench players, bro. No Thunder starter played in that game, and it pissed me off. Just we not even game one of the season. I already hate them again, bro. Like I didn't lose any love for the Oklahoma City Thunder, bro. So my answer is a hell no.
Josh, you're the only one that didn't have a voracious answer.
We talking about working on efficiency with in our show. My brother's covered it. I can get a little bit insidious with this, so I'll try to keep it PG. Where the OKC area is not starting based on pure hate. All logic would say it is. SGA is going to be so lame on starting five. I cannot. He's going to have the most turned, boringest ass storyline. And yeah, they best big man is a guy that acts like what's that? What's the what's the guy's name?
Yeah, like the Jamaican dude off of the Drewski show.
Yes, for
M.O.
sure. What's Chet Hanks? That's what he act like. Yeah, that's exactly. So no, we've rehashed this. Our ethos does not allow us to root for OKC. It's been I've talked about, and yeah. So I don't need to rehash it. My brother's got me.
I refuse to believe they are the cream of the crop, bro. Like I mean,
Well,
they
only
won it
won.
last year.
They only won off of Achilles, bro. I can make the argument. I can make the argument they wasn't gonna win that game.
I mean, we're gonna look
will
at
I die on that hill?
Yes.
We're gonna look at
Die
legit.
Will I die on
it,
that hill?
TJ.
No.
Please, TJ, die on it. Please.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna die on it. I'm gonna die
Thank
on it
you,
because
bro.
I said that the Pacers were gonna steal game one. We can pull that back up. They stole it. They were stealing games all series. They taking it to them in their own building. That's what the Thunder were not expecting. That's what I said had to happen. You have to steal 1 and 7 if it even got that far. You hit them in the mouth at home. They're thinking they're finna roll you at home. That's the best way to steal that game. That's what they were doing. And then he caught the Tatum Dame illness, and he went to grab, and now they playing Saddam Hussein edits. Cue that edit, and we like, damn. We're really asking the question: do the Thunder have a dynasty? I'm getting like visceral reaction to that shit, man. That's
actually giving me goosebumps, literally. Like
We got too much talent in the West for all that bullshit.
There's a lot of wrong. I think there's a lot wrong today with our society and the microwave culture and with the way that media consumption happens. But I still think, in large part, the court of public opinion is wrong. Is right when it is wrong. There's a reason why we have all this evidence, and nobody wants to crown Shea the face of the league. Like the nigga signed with Converse or whatever, like them yellow ass shoes that nobody's that's sitting on shelves.
He only got one shoe.
Who is going? Do you know? Do any of us? I know one person, unfortunately. Friend of the show, Willow Shepherd. Friend of the show, Willow Shepherd. But do y'all know anybody that owns some shades?
I ain't gonna lie, like my brother ain't got the hooping shoes, he got the lifestyle shoes, but other than that, hell no.
I got the
Lil Josh,
Converse
he's short enough. That's a
them
0.5. Shout out my boy Lil Josh. So like we know
Josh.
half a person. Like it's I mean, and this thing like American born, he's from Canada. He's still North American. Like it shouldn't be that much of a stretch. But face of the league conversation still largely revolving around Jokic, Giannis, Luka,
Jason Tatum,
and Ant. No, they don't. So I mean, I think the court of public opinion, the large NBA fandom. I mean, it's a reason why. Yeah, it's a reason why. Like No, we are simply rejecting this as a thing, as a large NBA fandom and community, as we should.
And I think I'm just gonna throw my little two
Yeah.
cents on this, bruh. Jalen Williams might be the worst number two to ever win an NBA championship ring. But as we continue to talk about just this new look Western Conference, obviously everybody on this panel is a fan of a team in this Western Conference. So TJ, I want to start with you, man. Zion came into training camp, into media day, whatever it was, looking slim, trim, and like he got
Yeah.
Mariah Mills gone on some shit. So I want to I want to ask you, man, how you feeling coming into this Pell season, man? A new look team, no BI, bring in Jordan Poole. Just how you feeling down there in Smoothie King Arena, man?
Zion injected his fat into Mariah Mills' ass.
Did y'all see that video of her walking and they were talking about
Bro,
Zion?
that shit
to
was
Yale?
insane, bro.
It's got bigger since he. Yeah,
That's not even
man, she might be
proportional,
on
bro.
to something. I will say I actually like the Jordan Poole signing. I liked going for offensive fears. You know, y'all had a lot of good things to say about him. I like that. Wasn't crazy about the Derek Queen pick, and then he immediately got hurt. That was the most. I see Josh. I see you not crazy. Like that was the most Pelicans thing that could ever
No
happen.
cap.
And we traded the pick to Atlanta.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I kind of want to talk about them later, but that we can really end up paying for that. I know they're in the East,
Oh,
but
God.
that is probably the last team we want to trade a good pick to because of all the things that they did in the offseason. But sometimes, like, not to lump me in with y'all because I know the Grizzlies are a different story, but I feel like we share the same logic of we get excited in the offseason and then we're saying a prayer circle, God, please stay healthy. And then it just takes 1 week, 2 weeks into the season, one ankle, one wrist, one shoulder, and then we're, like, oh, what did we do to deserve this? Like, we look forward to this all off season, wash, rinse, repeat. Y'all were talking in the group chat about you got the day-to-day text. I'm waiting for the, Zion stepped on somebody at practice. Trey Murphy slipped on a banana peel in the locker room. Herb Jones, stepped on an untied shoelace, and they were like, oh, it's the same shit. Like, I want to get excited, but I also don't. Like, last year was bad. You can blame it on injuries, but I didn't like a lot of the things that I saw on the court. We were rolling out some deep scrubs. Jeremiah Robinson,
No
Earl.
cap.
We went and got Alfred Payton from out the tunnel. True story. Look it
Hey, he
up.
had a 20 assist game though, bro.
Yeah, come on.
Like
How many
20
points?
years ago.
No,
No, he
I'm
had 20
saying
assists game
last
last
year,
year.
bro.
It was last year?
Yes,
Yeah, it
bro.
was like 4 points, 20 assists. He had a couple of double-digit assist games. Shout out Alfred Payton.
Okay. That
Shout
must
out
have been
Magic.
game
Shout out
82. Ain't no
But-
way.
Look it up. He had a couple of them. I don't know. I don't really want to get excited. I like that Zion is taking his health seriously, but like you're at the point where what choice did you have? Like this is your profession. I think I've heard Vance speak to this. Like this is your profession. This is your job. Like you're not doing us any favors by staying healthy. Like you're not gonna hand us a cookie. Like oh here guys, I'm in shape now.
I know you saw Molly's incentive video, like how Zion has to hit incentives to get paid on his contract.
What did it say?
Guaranteed. I mean, they're gonna do weight checks. Like you got to be asserted
Like,
weight.
all
They
right,
hit him with that
guys.
Eddie Lacy.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, if we're at that point, like, we should not be handing out cookies for you taking your job. If any of us work a job, if we work at an office, if we work at a restaurant, you're not getting cookies for doing, showing up in uniform, showing up on time. Those things are the equivalent to, if you're a professional and you have, requirements, restraints, like, you have to follow those things. Like, good for him. Kind of doesn't look right. His head didn't really, like, he got the Ozempic body, but he don't got the Ozempic head. Like it didn't go all the way down. I'm not loving
you got
all
a cartoon head.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not loving the focus on the anime tattoos and I don't love the off court.
You seen he was with the street niggas this summer, bro.
We seen too many of the off court fits because he's on. And we saw how that worked. We saw that worked out for Arch. They might have zapped him. So you might gotta stay away from the street niggas. But you know what? Let's just take it one game at a time. Because with this team, somebody get hurt in the preseason. We've seen it. I don't know. I want 45 to 50 games, and I also want a new head coach. We've got new front office, new players, new GMs. If a team's not getting any better or any worse, what's the first thing you're gonna look at? Players, we fixed that or we addressed it. After that, simple as a coach. And the NBA is not like the NFL. The NBA, like, to me, each coach is built into a hot seat in the NBA because players want to get you fired, fans will get you fired faster. Like, it's more influence and it's less going on the court. Like it's not all these players. It's a more of a microscope on the coaches to get your ass fired easily. So I want a new coach and I want the guys to stay healthy. After that, whatever happens, happens.
Twin tighter than
You
Willie
said
Green Bible quotes.
you said 40 or 50 games. 40 or 50 games or what? Wins, Zion's
Yeah,
games
wins.
played.
I want 40 to 50 wins. If they make the play in and they win a playoff game or two, because we made the play in and the playoffs and didn't even win a game, so that would be an improvement. I take 2 wins in a playoff series and we'll call it a year. I'll take
with us being from the Memphis area, me, Nick, you, all Jackson, we know a lot of Pels fans. I know a lot of
Nigga, the
them are on
Pels
the
ain't got
fence.
that many fans.
Listen, we know all of them literally. So either
All
way it
5 of them.
goes, yeah, it's 50-50 split whenever you ask them, do you think they should build around Zion or no? If you had to pick right now.
I would say the Pels are in a, I don't know if this answers, the Pels are in a take what you can get stage. So you don't get rid of a player like Zion, but you also don't, from what you've seen, you can't not break your neck and break the bank building around him, but you'd be silly to trade him away because we know how the transitive property of trading away star players works. They're going to find that they're going to find health, success, happiness the moment they get away from that team that drafted him. So I think you'd be silly to cast him aside, but I don't advocate in building around him. You have to take what you can get at this stage in the franchise. So I don't know if that answers, but I would take what I can get and I wouldn't squander what I have.
Man, like I said, because in terms of my contribution to this conversation, that Herb Jones contract looks tradable as fuck. That's all I'm gonna say, bro. What's that?
I bet it does.
4 for 64, bro. Come on, bro. Y'all got another one. Y'all got Herb
I
Jones
bet it
on, bro.
does, buddy.
Shout out Trey Murphy with the little bow wows. Come on, bro. Go
Nick,
ahead.
talk him out of it. Talk him out of it, Nick.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I ain't touching Herb Jones. Last year I was saying give me Vince Williams over Herb Jones.
Crazy.
I'm definitely not saying that shit no more, but I don't
I'm
want
not saying
Herb
that's
either.
crazy.
Herb Jones will be the best wing that Memphis has right now. Oh God.
You got a little Cam fucked up, but talking about Memphis.
Look, Cam who?
Memphis.
Look, Cam new nigga. What are you talking about? What?
Yeah,
No.
Cedric Coward got something to say. We get to
Nah,
Grizzlies
for
later,
real.
though, bro.
But nah, I mean, let's go on talk about the Grizzlies, man. I mean, we didn't took our little trip down to Smoothie King. Let's go up to FedEx, man. How the Grizzly boys feeling, man?
You asking me?
I mean,
Eerie.
whoever want to pick it up first, man.
Eerie. Like we talk. I mean, as much as we would like to say that there's a significant degree of separation between the Pels and Memphis, it's not. It's not. We have the stars for both teams literally came from the same AAU program. Like it's definitely not. One is fat or struggles with weight. One struggles with staying on the. I mean, they both struggle staying on the court. One's because he's fat, and one is because he can't stop bullshitting, and he's skinny as hell. Like it's just that simple. Like at a certain point,
But they both skinny now.
Allegedly, I would hesitate to call Zion skinny. He's skinny relative to previous iterations of himself. There we go.
Skinnier.
There we go. Exactly. There's a good chance that Ja's available for the season opener, but I'm just not enthused by how he moved to some. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of outside time in terms of touring in China with Nike, a lot of promo of the shoe and get your money, King. I'm not mad at it. But it's, even guys with similar personality, look how Ed Edwards moved this summer in terms of, like there was an intentional effort that I saw from somewhere they reported The Athletic of like, staying off social media, and kind of like even talking to Adidas in terms of like not having as many requirements for him, appearing requirements versus Ja. Seen a lot of them on Twitch. Can't lie. A lot of tweeting still. And I'm just, he has a lot to learn. He's lost a lot in these past 2 seasons, both injury-wise and off the court. And, I would just love to see him have a little zero dark 30 moment. Like, put that shit aside and focus on hooping. It's your fault or whether it's not in terms of injury or whatever. Just give yourself a chance to maximize, not to be what God has given you, honestly. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just not enthused. Obviously, we know the first situation. Jock Landale is the starting center, so less than enthused about that. Um, with all that being said, it's going to come down to how much Ja can shoulder the first month or so while Edie and Zach are out. We always saw the improvement.
I see
His
what you
improvement.
did there.
Thank you, brother. We saw the improvement of what it looked like the last month, the last 2 months under Isolo, and with his 3-point shooting. Honestly, but it's gonna come down to the same conversation we've had since the core four. What does the wing position look like? And I like Coward. Didn't look great. Hasn't played organized basketball in a long time. But I just call me slightly pessimistic.
I mean, that's the main problem right there. Literally, what does the wing position look like? I mean, you lose a shooter in Desmond Bain. You get Ty Jerome, who's okay. He's not better than Bain. Better bang for the buck. No pun intended.
Definitely.
But like, honestly, like Coward has to step in, and you can't expect 20 a game out of him his rookie year. So, but eventually, at least by the time his next contract, he has to at least be touching 20 for that to even work out. And so it really sucks because like Ja is so young, he's not that much younger than SGA. And you see how what they've done building that team. What have we done to build this team? We put new pieces around, but we didn't get better. And we seen
Facts.
all these other teams get better, bro. And it just don't feel like the Grizzlies got better this year. I mean, they might have the pieces might fit better together now. Losing Bane, I know that sounds crazy. You get different usage, but I just I agree with Josh. I they can make the playoffs. That's cool, bro. But like when you have a talent like Ja Morant, you want to be at least advancing the playoffs, which we haven't done in 3 years.
Damn, that sounds crazy saying out loud.
Now, I kind of, first of all, Josh, you compared John Morant to a guy he bounced out the playoffs, so I'm gonna
Oh,
put you on
bro,
mute, on
I
pause
forgot
for
all
a
about
second.
that. No, facts.
Bro, how long ago was that, dog?
No, no, no,
Ja-
no, 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 no,
Josh
no,
dress
no.
was shorter than yours when it happened.
No.
Like I used to trust me, bro. I feel the same way. Do you realize that
and
was
dealing with the same dealing with his own
pre-COVID, I
demons.
believe, when he beat Ant
Nah,
in the
bro.
playoff
No, it
series?
wasn't pre-COVID, bro.
Was it
No, it
not?
wasn't. It
Was it
It
wasn't. That was the
was,
last time they won, 2022.
yeah,
Last time
that's
they
what I was
won a
gonna say,
playoff
Okay,
series.
okay.
22. It
So
was
that was
my
like
fifth
almost
year.
post-COVID. Okay. So, but go ahead. But I'm gonna let you go, Nick. No Kanye shit. But it's like how much more time we're gonna enter the 20. It's gonna be a full presidential term since that series.
Hmm.
And like Van said, you look at where SGA was at that time in 2022. You look at where Ed Edwards was at that time, and
He was better than both of them,
and now he's
clearly.
undoubtedly not.
I would
Like,
also say, look at how those teams improved around those
Yeah,
young players from
that
then
too.
till now. You look at Anthony Edwards, they went and
I
got
was
Gobert.
I
What?
would say OKC, yes, and Minnesota, not so much. No,
Shit.
he made that Gobert shit work. He made Karl Anthony Towns tougher. Um, maybe he has better wings or he had better wings with Nah and McDaniels, but
We
no.
lost our bench. Their bench got better. Literally had the 6 man of the year,
Exactly.
Nas Reed.
And
So
that's the point I was going to come to. I don't think that the Grizzlies haven't necessarily built around their roster. We haven't developed our roster. GG
mhm.
Jackson is a guy we've been waiting on 2, 3 years to take that next step. Uh, just overall, you just think about all the wing names that have come and gone out of Memphis, bro, and nobody has stuck. And I was watching that Rudy Gay out the mud episode recently, bro, and it's like you really think about it. Ever since Rudy left, that has been our biggest hole, our biggest flaw. So we're talking about some of the things we're expecting from Cedric Coward coming into his rookie year. But let's look at some of the guys on the roster who haven't stepped up to that. Like I said, the G.G. Jacksons, the Scottie Pippen Juniors. We need something from KCP, especially the fact we traded Desmond Bain, brought him in. So I think we look at this team, and I think this is more so a year of transition as opposed to a year where we're making that push. Like I said, we
Mhm.
trade Desmond Bain this offseason, free up some cap, re-sign Triple J. But I think this is year we're going to look at this roster, see how we perform, come trade line, come into the season. I think that's when we make our moves to solidify this group because, like you said, Josh, this team definitely started playing better under Isolo towards the back end of the season. We saw more involvement from John Morant, and I think just some of this time that Jaren has spent without Ja has uh has allowed him to develop in a way that he wouldn't have with Ja on the court over these past 2 seasons. So I think when you come into a season, new coach, your one and your two are established, and you kind of have just this open flow. I think this is more than anything a let's see how it goes year for the Grizzlies. And then obviously I think into next summer is when the real pressure starts. But regardless, I'm excited to see what this team does in a very guard centric style of play, and one that really unlocked Ja Morant from some of the things that Taylor Jenkins wasn't allowing him to do early in the season.
Okay. The three things that we did mention. Contavious Caldwell Pope. I mean, I'm a proponent of all sports that preseason doesn't matter, but he did look good in preseason. Ty Jerome did too. So the level of bounce back that he'll have from his down year in Orlando will be key to the viability of this season, but also just aiding the development of our wings. Like you know, and if we could turn Jalen Wells and Cedric Howard, I think Cedric Howard has probably more potential than KCP. But if those guys can become that prime KCP model of hit these corner threes and guard the other team's best player, we're missing that. So I think that, player development wise, I'll be interested to track that. Zach Edey, year two jump, obviously wasn't the best in the playoffs, but again, a rookie big man that honestly we didn't even think his play style would translate. Let's see. Just again, like I said, we want to see a little bit more translatability, I guess, in the playoffs. And like, can we get the Jaren Jackson of the regular season to become the Jaren Jackson of the playoffs? That's what we need to see. And I think honestly, if we can hit at least two or three of those things, you telling me Ja Morant, one of Cedric Howard or Jalen Wells, KCP, Jaren Jackson, Zach Edey. If that's a 5-6, depending on who you got in that 3-4 matchup or even that second seed, honestly, that's not a team you want to play. But a Ja Morant that's healthy and focused combined with some of these theoretical things that happen, I think that, I think it's still with it kind of as pessimistic as we've been, it could still be a situation to where, I don't think winning the playoff series, even with Bane gone, is out of the question. And I think that with that happening and the capital that you got back, I think the outlook could quickly be changed, especially if Phoenix sucks.
It's very possible that the team could be not good by the time, let's just say, comes around. They're like 5, maybe even 10 games under 500, or they could be 5-10 above. You really just don't know. And if you find out right before trade deadline, that can swing either way, where we just punt, or we punt for the future, or we're going to go all in for it, like we have been going for the past couple of years, but we couldn't land those guys.
Yeah, and one thing I will say before we move off the Grizzlies is one thing we know with this team is traditionally we start out hot, we play hard every night, and we, like I said, traditionally stack up these early season wins. So, like I said, I think this will be more of a transition year, or let's see year more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm interested to see what a full off season of Isolo looks like when they hit the court in 2 weeks. But we've talked about the Grizzlies, talked about the Pelicans. Vance, we know you're a man of many teams. So let's talk about LeBron and the Lakers as we kind of started this segment with. The one thing we said all last year after the Luka LeBron team up was they need a center. Well, they got one. A former number one overall pick, a guy who's been to the NBA Finals in DeAndre Ayton. How do you feel about the Ayton signing, and how do you feel about Luka Braun Part 2, man?
It's interesting just because this is going to be the first full season where he's not the best player on the team. They're not. I mean, of course, he's going to be getting his touches, but he's going to get treated like Dwayne Wade in Miami. Like, that's going to be crazy. And so DeAndre Ayton is going to be really great for Luka, but if I have seen it, I've never seen LeBron play with a center like Ayton, honestly, like in terms of just talent wise and the way. play style. The last time, the person that came to my mind was Big Z of Gauskis. And so, like, that literally was 2015, 20 years ago of him playing with a guy with that type of style. And so Aiden's gonna have to play a big part. We're not even asking him to go out there and just go get us 20 and 10. We can use a solid 12 and 10, man. Just set the screens, give you what you need to do, hit the pick and pop. You got to hit those middies, bro, to be able to spread the floor. But the bench is really bad for the Lakers. And I mean that's been the case since they won the finals back then. Back in the day, they had a really deep team. Shit, Alex Caruso, he wasn't even the sixth man. He
Facts.
was getting in, but he helped out. But so bench is really weak when you think about you're sitting out there. He's been really disappointed. You're sitting Jake LaRavia. The Grizzly fans hated him for 2, 3 years, bro. Every time he got in the game, Grizzly fans were pissed. And so when you think about it,
I'm his biggest hater.
yeah, man, the bench is weak. And so playoff time is going to be cool. You can get away with playing 6, 7 guys. We saw the Lakers in that series against the Timberwolves. With the series is on the line. He only played the starting five the entire second half, and they still lost the game. And so we got to find some depth, like some guys that can hit their stride. Gabe Vincent looked good in the preseason, but the starters, you can't depend on a 40-year-old LeBron, a fat Luca, and a depressed DeAndre Ayton. And so that it comes down to that.
Come on.
That's what I was finna say. Luka was on the cover of Men's Digest, Men's Fitness, whatever it was.
And then on Amazon commercial. He's slimming.
Okay, bro. Okay.
I think
But-
when we
No,
talk
he's cold when he's fat, Lee. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
it's like you can't depend on that.
I think the biggest thing for me is we talk about some of these theoretical options, but at least the options for the Grizzlies. Like, especially with the firepower that you got out of the West, we talk about and we talk about Ja. I was gonna say K, but he's in the East. Even a guy like Booker still. When it gets into a playoff series, who is guarding the other team's best player? I think I saw Jared Vanderbilt guarding Devin Booker in the preseason.
You got Marcus Smart, bro. You got Marcus Smart.
Yeah. Got
But
Bronny
those
James
that
too,
was-
bro.
Okay. Those are some uninspired options. So I just think that I look at this Lakers team and like Vince said, the depth is concerning, which I guess becomes less of a concern in the playoffs. I just don't. I mean, maybe it's a traditionalist in me. I just don't see a situation to where you're a legitimate championship contender and you're a free 120, 125 every night.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, and Luka may be the best player in the Western Conference. This may be his MVP year, but in terms of, I mean, we just saw last year. We just saw what Ed did to that team. And I mean, I know this is the first full season, but like they had what? I mean, again, no center, but also defensive rim protection of DeAndre Ayton. That don't exactly mix. So I don't know what he would have did with Ed in that playoff series. But it's like, I think that one Luka and one LeBron should be greater than one Ant. But just the team and the lack of ability to contain a guy like Ant, like what about their roster improve to prevent an outcome like that from happening again?
For starters, I'm gonna say I'm getting a little tired of you glazing Ant like this on this show, bro.
For real,
I'm getting
bro.
real tired. But anyway, bro.
I mean, I've been going hard today, but also like, I mean, is it glazing?
Somebody
I'm like, bro,
40.
I don't know, bro. I feel you. Like I said, I can lay off, but shit.
I just think that when you look at this Lakers team, everything starts LeBron and Luka. This is gonna be, I think, and we saw it last year, one of the better offenses that will get even better with an addition like DeAndre Ayton, a guy who can be an above the rim threat for Luka and also be a mid range spacer. Like Van said, this is a guy who, and Vance, you said you need him to average 12 and 10. He averaged 14 and 10 last year in Portland, and that's kind of consistent with what his career has been. So I think for this LA team, not to say that they'll necessarily outscore or try to outscore everybody they'll play, because this was a very good defensive team at a certain point last year without a center. So I think that just coming into this year, more continuity and having considerably the pieces that you need to be competitive, I think that'll do wonders for this LA team. I think this will be a top 4 seed in the West just off the strength of Luka Doncic, because we've seen the way he's been able to carry that weight with the Mavericks in the past. So I think this will be nothing new for Luka, nothing new for the Lakers. And I could see this team being pretty successful because, Vance, you talked about some of the depth issues they have, but I think they have the pieces that they didn't have last year to fill those holes. We talked about a Marcus Smart, talked about a Jake LaRavia. Hopefully you get just some good health in the sense of Gabe Vincent, Vanderbilt, and Kleber, all of these other guys that missed some time last year. But I think coming into this season, I think they have a good game plan for how they're going to go in and find success throughout the season.
That nigga just say Maxi Kleber, that was crazy. I
I
don't know how
mean,
much
shit,
this
you saw he was strapping
matters.
shit in Dallas.
Is JJ, do we know if JJ Redick's a good coach yet?
He's solid. He
He
cool.
found a
I
way
feel
to
like, yeah.
he found a way to have the number
No,
one defense with no
I'm
center,
really,
bro. Like that's
I'm,
impressive to me.
I
I
like
mean,
I
he
said,
better than
it's a
Water on the
genuine
dude.
question because of that. Um, because like I said, because of that, and he seems to be able, he seems to be able to kind of manage the star stuff in a way that we've seen the guy, recent retiree like Steve Nash not be able to. But playing only 5 guys for the entire half is kind of crazy. Maybe this is the anti-Duke in me. He seemed to get very like childish and moody when things aren't going his way with the media. So that
Yeah.
can be a little whatever.
He a
Um,
podcast.
That's
okay.
how he was as a player, though. He's a hothead. He's still young.
And I just I don't like I mean it's a genuine question. Like he has some strengths, has some weaknesses. Do I just I mean, do we think that is that a guy that I trust going up against a Ty Lue, a Joe Mazzulla if it comes down to it? Is it or Ime Udoka even? Is it a situation where, he gets, outwitted on both ends of the floor when it gets to like a second or third round? I don't know.
I mean, I will say in terms of scheme and obviously play call wise, it doesn't sound right talking about basketball, but JJ Redick has come up with some nice sets coming out of bounds, coming into the half court. And then, like I said, on defense, he found solutions for a Lakers team that was significantly deficient. So for me, the question was JJ Redick come in, like you said, not subbing for a whole half, his use of timeouts. But schematically, I like what JJ Redick brings as a head coach.
I mean, if Vance likes him, he's gonna watch more than the rest of us. That's just what matters. This guy on the mound for the Yankees looks a lot like Roger Clemens. But I guess, like I said, I mean, just those questions. Like I said, I guess I don't know how much the media stuff matters, but it is very off-putting. I can't lie. And I mean, like I said, I think it's more so. I guess the quality of coach that I just named in the West, except for Missoula, that's what I worry about because I think we just saw that happen. What we just saw that happen with Houston against somebody. I can't remember, but like I mean, I guess in the playoffs, like the margins get thin. That's where that is the margin right there. A guy that kind of knows exactly what his A, B, and C is in a tough, like I said, down the wire playoff situation versus a guy that is even in a moment like that. Even the lack of having that confidence can inspire distrust in your huddle in that moment. So JJ Redick is to answer that question. Not like I said, I don't know, but I don't know. But I do think something that, I like, I don't know how good it is or not. He's not afraid to hold those guys accountable. He will dog the shit out of Luka and Braun. And I do think that is, at the very least, I mean, I think it goes a long way to accountability. And I think that's how you get your role players to play hard.
Yeah. And so obviously, obviously the Lakers are a team, as many did this offseason, that addressed some of their needs. So TJ, I want to come back to you. Earlier you talked about the Hawks and specifically that Derek Queen pick. So tell us about this Hawks offseason and just some of your concerns around that Derek Queen pick because of what Atlanta is currently building right now.
Well, you know me, I'm straight out the city. I don't like nothing in Atlanta. So for me to say this,
Hold on,
I
the
ain't
Oilers in Atlanta
lying.
got beef like that?
So you got Porzingis, you got Jalen Johnson. He'll be healthy. The Falcons. I fuck my nigga P Reed. Shout out P Reed, but I don't fuck with Atlanta like that. It's no disrespect, but it is what it is. So you got Naw, you got Ace. I thought Ace and Newell looked really good in summer league.
Yeah.
Grizzly fans, close your ears. Luke Kennard. I just think that Vance says a lot, but this is a team that could be full of lemons We could be looking at a couple sprained ankles, and Porzingis had whatever he had. But if this goes right, you got a rim protector. You got somebody who's basically unguardable in the post-ups. KP can shoot the long ball. Jalen Johnson, if he gets his shot, he's probably one of the most athletically gifted players in the league, period, who can't shoot the basketball. But if they even figure out his shot a little bit, that's probably some of the rawest untapped potential in the league. We know what Nall can bring.
Either Shade and Sharp of the East.
It will be interesting to see Nall.
Yeah, Shade
Right. It'll be. I haven't even mentioned Dyson Daniels and Okongwu and Ricochet. Like, they just had a number one pick. They've got all this talent. Ace New look good. Kennard, if they can get something out of him. I think they benefited from the Celtics free-for-all, fire sale, yard sale, whatever the fuck that was. I don't know. If they can stay healthy, we know Trae Young is a killer, regardless of how you feel about him. If we know nothing about him, the big moments, like there's so much surrounding NBA ring culture and big moment culture. Like, we clown James Harden and we clown all these guys because they have no big moments. If Trae Young is the sorriest regular season shooter percentage-wise, he's one of the biggest big moment players in the league. So in the East, we know the East. You spell it EASST, East. I will say I don't want to say I'm scared of them, because we were concerned when they had the big sale. They let DeAndre Hunter go, my boy. They were just letting players go left and right. We were kind of confused, like, what the fuck they got going on? Do they know something that we don't? Well, clearly they did. I think Porzingis was a huge signing. If his condition doesn't flare up, I think we're looking at a team that could be competitive. And to Nick's point about the pick, I thought that was pretty silly, because you have a team that they went all in free agency. The Pels kind of dipped their feet in, like, can we get some complimentary players? And you traded them to a team that's like, we want
You going
what we can get out of it.
Did we lose my nigga?
Now, like I said, when they were making the moves last offseason with DeAndre Hunter and others, we're like, parlayed it, no pun intended, into some great young potential in Ricochet. We haven't really seen that. Dyson Daniels was all world last year. He was able to, both on what Atlanta, for you talking about, we'll get into.
And the reason I wanted to bring that pickup was because, like you said, especially if New Orleans is that lemon that they can potentially be, that becomes a very valuable trade piece for Atlanta if things are looking up mid-season, and could swing them to even higher heights than what we're potentially looking at right now in a frankly depleted East. Obviously, Indiana's taking a hit, Boston has taken a hit, and we're really just down to the second fiddle teams in the East. Like, are we really going to see a Cavs championship run? I don't know. But I want to ask y'all, talking about the Hawks, who are some of these other teams, other offseason acquisitions, new rookies that we're excited to see as this NBA season gets ready to kick off?
Man, I want to jump out the window a little bit. I'm excited to see the Blazers hoop. I can't lie. I cannot lie. I'm really. Whoa, hey man, calm down, little ATL.
No, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
I mean, Shaden Sharp may be the best athlete in the NBA outside of Amin Thompson. First of all, so just pure watchability, definitely so. We talk about, just how they played down the stretch of the season. They played. I think they were above 500. I think the last 40 games of the year. They're not a super best kept secret at this point. The West is so crowded, like, in terms of cracking that top 8, unlikely. But in terms of offseason moves, we was all going crazy about Asian Jokic in summer league. We all like my boy Yang. I think that Shaden Sharp's development would be helped by Anthony Simmons being gone. I don't think that those two were a great match. And we talk about Scoot Henderson. I think that Drew Holiday will only help him. I think we may be looking at a situation similar to Jalen Suggs with Scoot Henderson in terms of, Jalen Suggs was a top 5 pick, kind of expected to be more of a, I think, dynamic, at least offensive guy for Orlando. And you kind of see what he's turned himself into. Maybe not exactly what you expect from a top 5 pick, but undoubtedly a valuable piece for them. So, and yeah, I mean, they still got Damian Lillard too. Let's not forget about that. So yeah, I think that, like I said, I'm really high on Shannon Sharp. He was a guy that got to think about it. He didn't play college ball anywhere, so he still has a lot more runway to
Nice.
develop. Like I said, I think there's going to be a bump for him in terms of, like I said, just addition by subtraction with Simon's gone. And then, you know, they put a lot of stock into Scoot, and I think that, you know, their move with Drew. Like I said, I don't know how the Dame fit would necessarily go, because I don't think Dame is necessarily ready for that Brad Beal type of role. But undoubtedly, Drew Holiday being on this role, on this roster, is going to help Scoot Henderson develop, if nothing else. So, like, you look at kind of Derek Core, you got Scoot. Like, I think we'll get better. You got Sharp, who looks like undoubtedly, at the very least, a Andrew Wiggins type of wing. You got Klingon, who I like. You got your wild card with my boy Chinese Jokic. He probably got one of the. He probably got maybe a top 3 on-ball defender, Tamani Kamara.
My nigga,
So-
how do you not name arguably the best player on the team, bro?
He didn't even mention the IDF, so
That's what I'm saying. My nigga, Denny can't get no love, bro.
Oh no, I definitely.
IDF.
I didn't think about
No,
Avi
he
in there to start.
didn't.
I'm sorry. I mean, yeah, that's. I mean, hell, he would look great. Him like Herb Jones would look great in Memphis Blue. I
No,
cannot
God.
lie. So no, y'all, that's a good call out. So no, I think that's a young, versatile core that has room to grow. Lineup versatility. Like I said, positional size, and they're gonna beat up. I mean, maybe not in the West because everybody's gunning, but in the East, where there's only 5 good teams, really. Talk about Cleveland, Orlando, New York, Detroit.
You just getting ass and
And-
more ass.
Yeah, there's like 5. Like there's gonna be more teams in expected where they're in the East. They're gonna be able
Indiana
to
just made the finals. He ain't even included.
Nigga, did you see Halliburton's Achilles explode? nigga?
Man, bro, that's a system, man.
The fucking Celtics
He
are playing
fits it
into
well.
man. What the fuck?
My Miles Turner packed up his Lego sets and went to Milwaukee too.
I'm
bro.
about to say,
That's
dog.
crazy. Wow. Okay.
So
James
now-
Wiseman, Tom.
Okay.
Y'all
That's not why
laughing.
you said that with full seriousness, bro.
Nah,
Y'all
for real.
laughing, bro. All right.
So now, like I said, I think it's a team to where, like I said, well, my boy, I think Fran Michelle, they may be a year away from being a year away, but at the very least, they're gonna be a league pack special for me. I'm trying to see Shannon Sharp boom some shit. I think that a lot of people, I think they may be, because this sports shit is weird, you know. San Antonio's getting a lot of preseason hype. They may ultimately make that jump that a lot of people think San Antonio's making from like ass to mid to like potential playing team.
Hey, y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
you good, for?
Nigga, his car, right? He wrecked his shit on fire.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Damn, loud, but I ain't doing my job for what the hell? Hold on, what did you deduce, sir, Mr. Reporter?
No, I walked out there. I was like, is there anybody in the car? It was the nigga. He said he had an oil change, bro.
Okay, we can make the jokes now. So a nigga did some stupid shit. Okay.
I don't
Like,
know
is
the
there
hell
anybody in the house? Because it's right next to a house. That hoe might explode, bro. I'm low key about to like go on the other side of the house, bro. I might be.
I don't know if the oil change supposed to do that, but
Nah, for real.
I ain't never
I done
changed my
went to
own
Jiffy
oil.
Lube a few times. It ain't
Nah,
never
for
did.
real.
I take my shit
That's,
to the
that's
dealer.
that Texas that's that Texas good boy old mentality. I can do it myself. Nigga, why are you changing oil at 11 o'clock at
Oh
night?
God,
I say at night.
Nigga
That
can't
shit
see
not
shit.
urgent.
Oil is black as hell, first of all.
Around, bro. I don't know, bro.
That shit not urgent at no way, shape, or form.
Okay,
That
again,
shit
you're not
ain't
driving the rest
no
of the night.
fucking word.
They got that hoe from
He probably trying to go get on the bitch, bro. That's how niggas do shit, dumb shit. Like, this bitch told me come over. I ain't got no oil in my shit.
Yeah, it's over with, bro. It's
I
over
don't
with.
even know how we picked this shit back up.
It's over with. It's done,
I
fool.
think you was
Like,
saying something about the blazes and the earth
my
stop.
nigga just left,
that's
bro.
what
Hold on. It's over with, but we gotta check on my nigga. No cap. It's been good. The National Guard of Memphis, this shit too crazy.
Is this like 9/11
Shiesty
for no
home.
cap? It's like no cap 9/11, bro. Where were you when this shit went down? We ain't even got the video yet.
No cap 9/11 from a nigga saying his oil, man. That's a hell of a way to end the night, man. So shit. Hey, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, and also Make sure y'all dumbasses don't change our own oil if y'all know what the fuck y'all doing, man.
Halloween.